Just wanted to talk, that's all.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Yankees kicking off a series against the Twins tonight, and Will Warren on the mound. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Yankees manager situation. I want to talk a little bit about their organization as a whole. We got a bunch of voicemails from you guys. Also, having some live stream issues this week. So some of you may have noticed that the live stream got taken down yesterday midway through. It was about 10 minutes after the stream went off, and I know a lot of people were watching, and it got removed, and I had to re-upload it. So there was an issue. I showed like a 3-second clip that I've shown a million times before. Whenever the Yankees are playing bad, I have this little drop-in where I play the scene from Jaws where the guy is Chief Brody. He's shooting the shark, and the shark blows up, and I say, blow it up. Well, apparently I got a notice. It was, I think, an automated thing where you're not supposed to show firearms during a live stream. So I got dinged for that, and they took down the stream, and now there's like a 72-hour period before I can stream again. I appealed. I think it'll be fine. I didn't get a warning or a strike or anything like that, but they block you from live streaming for a couple of days while they review it. So for the next couple of days, the podcast will be a little bit different. I will be pre-recording and uploading, so we're not going to have the live comments on the screen. During the game, I will take your voicemails, and I will answer them as the game goes along, and then we'll just upload at the end of the game. So we'll just kind of improvise a little bit. But sorry about that. Hopefully things get straightened away first. That is obviously my bad, but also partially YouTube being a little oversensitive. But Yankees 62-56, six and a half games back in the American League East. They are a half game back for the third wild card, with the Guardians, Rangers all creeping up, and the Yankees going in the wrong direction. And it's hard to identify exactly where the problem lies. I mean, Aaron Boone gets a lot of criticism because he's got an enormous payroll, and every summer for a couple of months they underperform. And they don't just play, 500 ball or have a couple of bad games. They'll be literally one of the worst teams in baseball for months at a time, and this happens every year, and you can't explain it. And it even happened last year when the Yankees went to the World Series. I think this year the Yankees might actually miss out on the playoffs, and I think that the urgency around this team is not what you want. Now, statistically, this team has 183 home runs on August 11th, which is incredible. But this is more evidence that you need more than just home runs and home run hitting ability to be a good baseball team. It doesn't matter how many times you hit 7 home runs in a game off the bullpen in a game you've already put away. You got to be able to win the close games like the Yankees had this weekend, like they had against the Marlins. And they just have an inability to do that because they can't put together hits. They have deprioritized contact hitting. Their pitching has been so up and down, hard to watch. A couple of years ago when Luke Voit showed up at spring training and he was laughing about batting average, he said, does anybody even care about batting average anymore? Well, he got released because he wasn't hitting enough a few years later. I see a lot of guys on this team, Wells hitting 208. Jazz hitting 237. Volpe hitting 217. Grisham, he's hitting for power, but again, 245 hitter. Ben Rice hitting 231. JC Escarra, 205. Ryan McMahon, he's hitting 250 since coming to the Yankees, but a 200-ish hitter overall on the season. Let me pull up his actual number, 221 on the season. So we have difficulty stringing hits together. And it's aggravating because it leads to a lot of, guys left on base, guys left in scoring position. You get a guy on base and everybody's trying to hit the 2-run, 3-run home run instead of moving the runner. Back in the 90s, and I know I talk a lot about the 90s teams, but those are the teams I grew up watching. It was a team that wasn't full of superstars, but they understood how to win baseball games. If you had a runner on second with nobody out, you could bet that the hitter who was at the plate was trying to hit the ball on the ground to the right side to advance that runner to third so that the next guy could try and hit a sac fly right? It was about getting the run in, not about personal stats. And I have a feeling that a lot of guys are focused on their personal stats because the money has become so crazy in baseball that everybody wants that big contract for hitting all the home runs or whatever. And it's a little aggravating. We've had a lot of talk about Aaron Boone, about whether or not he's the right guy to manage this team. It seems like every year we have this midsummer slump, and to me, that is enough to really consider another option. And we just saw the guy I'd pick, Donnie Baseball. I know that Don Mattingly has not been a great manager, and we do have some voicemails about this, so I won't spend too much time on it. Mattingly has not been a great manager, but neither was Joe Torre before he came to the Yankees. I think there's more to winning as a manager than just your experience as a manager. Are you the right personality type, right? Do you know how to handle the city? Joe Torre was perfect because at a time when the Yankees had a lot of young players and the noise was starting to get louder that they hadn't been to the World Series in, I think it was 18 years, they hadn't been to the World Series since 81. They hadn't won it since 78 when Joe Torre took over in 96. So there was a lot of noise around that. And you had some young guys coming up, obviously the Jeters, the Pettits, the Riveras, the Posadas. You had young guys, and Torre acted like a filter that kept that noise from influencing the development of those guys. They were able to develop. They were able to learn from some of the veterans that had been brought in under Gene Michael, guys like Paul O'Neill. And, you hear Paul O'Neill on the broadcast, talk about his approach. And it's all about winning the game and scoring the runs, not about personal statistics. Joe Girardi, same way. He got booed when he first came in there because he wasn't a home run hitter like Mike Stanley, but he was the perfect fit. He handled the young staff well. Andy Pettitte, Rivera. He handled these guys. And then he worked with the veterans, guys like Jimmy Key. And he did a great job. He got a big hit when it mattered because he wasn't trying to hit home runs, right? He was a contactor. I think he hit about 290 that year. He was a good player, great defender, played hard. We don't really have a lot of that type of player on the roster anymore. It seems like a collection of guys who are put together to try and smoke home runs. And obviously they're getting that done. They're accomplishing that. But once again, the baseball has been flawed. The fundamentals have been a problem. We've had numerous base running issues. Yesterday, Shohei Ohtani made a base running mistake. He got thrown out at third base. And after the game, they asked Dave Roberts, what were your thoughts on that? And he said, obviously, it was a bad baseball play. Bad baseball play. I can't imagine Boone saying things like that about one of his stars, about one of his rookies, about anybody. He would say something like, well, he's trying to do something there, trying to make a play. I understand he's an elite base runner. It happens. It's a base, he would cover over it, right? He would make excuses and bend over backwards to avoid accountability. Whereas Dave Roberts is just being honest and open. And delivering the message is so important as a manager in baseball. It's how you build accountability. And so I feel like that's a perfect example of the contrast between a real manager, a World Series champion manager, and Aaron Boone. And again, I think Mattingly might be the right guy, right time. He's got the baseball acumen. He's got the experience. He's coached. He's managed. Most importantly, he's played in New York. He understands the media. He understands what it's like to be a young player in New York. He understands what it's like to be a star in New York. And I think that some of that wisdom and, quite frankly, the accountability that he demanded as captain will filter down. He might even be able to help Aaron Judge be a better captain. I'm not saying Aaron Judge is a bad captain, but, I don't really see him doing the things that a captain typically does, leading his men in the dugout, getting people fired up. But then again, Jeter didn't really do that either. Jeter kind of led by example, diving into the stands and things like that. And Jeter wasn't always the perfect captain either. You could argue that he treated A-Rod in a way that inhibited A-Rod's first year with the Yankees and inhibited some of his production at times and compiled on the pressure that he was already feeling. So Jeter was imperfect too, but nobody is perfect. But anyway, I'm gonna keep harping Mattingly. I think he might be the right guy. Even if he is an imperfect manager, I think he might be right guy, right time. So we've got a bunch of voicemails that I'm going to get to, and I'm going to play these. And I wanted to remind you guys, call in during the game tonight because I'm going to be taking voicemails during the game and recording responses and answers, and that's how we're going to do the podcast until the live stream ban gets lifted in a day or two, hopefully. But anyway, here's a quick word from Arena Club, and then back with your voicemails.
Hey, we love ripping slab packs on Arena Club. I just ripped one in a Ruby pack. Those are fancy schmancy, Kip. And I pulled a Matt Shaw 2023 Bowman Draft Aqua Lunar Crater Refractor card. And guess what? Guess what? I got a little offer. You get the instant offer right away. Okay. So they're offering me $121 to sell it back, and then I can get a new slab pack. What do I do?
I want to see this thing. Hold on. Look at that. That's a beautiful card. You know what? I think that's a safe bet. I think it's going to make you a little bit of money. I think the more big league time he gets, I'd almost take the deal, though. I'm in it for the chase. I like opening more packs. I think that 121 can buy you a couple more slabs to open. And I think you keep chasing until you get something you really like. But that's the best part about it for me.
That's right. You can sell it back, $121, and then open up another slab pack. Use the code FOUL to receive 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
It's just a reaction.
All right, so we're going to take some voicemails now. Special thanks to Arena Club there. First call.
Hey, Derek, it's Eddie. I just wanted to say I totally agree with you. The season is basically cooked. We're done. We should have been sellers, but we took, they took a chance. If you look at the Yankees' record from July and August of 2022, 2023, 2024, all losing records. The Yankees are not the boys of summer under Aaron Boone. I honestly believe that we should have taken a chance and we should get rid of Boone. I'm willing to take a chance on Shelley Duncan. Why not? Get Shelley Duncan for the remainder of the season. If he does good, maybe you give him a one-year deal. Worst case scenario, you go out, you either get for next year Showalter, Madden, or get Donnie Baseball in here.
I appreciate the call. Joe Madden's interesting to me. Shelley Duncan seems like a good guy. Seems like a coach or a manager in waiting at some point. I would rather go with someone with a little bit of major league experience to manage the New York Yankees. It's just a different animal managing the Yankees. And Boone was a first-time manager, was not the right fit. I'd be okay going back with Girardi again. Joe Madden I find interesting because he's had a little bit of success. Didn't have as much success with the Angels, obviously, but did well with the Cubs. Always liked him when he was the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. But I think if the Yankees miss the playoffs, you will see a managerial change, 100%. I don't think you'll see a change at the general manager position because Cashman and Steinbrenner are basically best friends. I mean, they're buddies. They're like family. And so I just don't see the Yankees making a move there. But I would absolutely expect if the Yankees miss the playoffs that they will replace the manager. And right now, the guy I've got most in mind is Donnie Baseball, who you mentioned. But I think he might be right guy, right time. Joe Madden, no problem with that. Shelley Duncan, nah. Here's Alex.
Hey, Derek, it's Alex, first-time caller. I was listening to your show, and I heard you talk about your plans for 2026, and I want you to consider when you talk about Murakami. He's a player coming over from Japan, and he's got tremendous pop, 56 home runs. That's the record over there. And he idolizes Hideki Matsui, and he's talked about coming to the Yankees, plays third base, but he can also play first and DH. I definitely think the Yankees are going to be in on him, making him a big offer, and I want to know what you think. Also, Nayu is also like a triple crown, and he's had 2 MVP seasons. He's the rookie of the year over there. I think he would be a great fit. What do you think?
So I'll pull up his stats here just so we can kind of take a look. He's only played in 25 games this year, so I don't know if he's had some kind of an injury or whatever. He's hitting .316. He's got 5 home runs. I like him as a power guy, but I was just talking about how we need more baseball players. And this is a guy who last year in Japan hit .244, struck out 180 times. He hit .256 the year before that. struck out 168 times. I'm not sure that turns him into a great big league hitter. He might have a ton of power. He is just 25 years old. I don't know much about his defense, but right now you have to imagine that their third baseman is going to be Ryan McMahon. He's got a couple years under contract. Maybe Murakami for first base, but you've also got Ben Rice. You could potentially bring back Cody Bellinger. There's a lot of options. I still think that Aaron Judge at some point needs to move to first base. The flexor strain throwing is concerning. I want him throwing as little as possible going forward. We do not need to miss him for a year with Tommy John surgery. I'm sorry. And at first base, you just don't have to throw that much. And he's a big target over there. He's athletic enough to learn the position. I think I would start shifting Judge over to first base, re-sign Bellinger for right field. Ben Rice becomes your starting catcher. Austin Wells becomes either the backup or trade bait. And then in center field, you either get Spencer Jones or you shift Dominguez to center field, sign Kyle Tucker to play left, or, Kyle Tucker in right, Bellinger in left, that type of thing. So that's where we're at. I feel like Murakami has the power, but I'm not sure he's the perfect solution baseball wise. Here's Jeff.
Hey, Derek, Jeffrey Cole. Derek, the way I watch these games is I record them and I fast forward. So I watch them on fast forward so I can go through the brain damage and not have to be tortured. And when I see something happening in the scoring box, I stop it and I watch. But today's game, I fast forwarded through the whole 9 innings because nothing happened. And, the shame of it is, it's not a really bad team. You got a good outfield. You got Dominguez and Bellinger and Grisham and Judge. McMahon's not a terrible third baseman. He's decent. Jazz is pretty plus at second base. You got a decent first baseman in Rice and the other guy. Catcher is, maybe a little weak, but we got decent pitchers, and it seems to me that the weak point of this team is Aaron Boone. If they had a manager who could motivate these players to play up to their potential, they might have a chance to not only make the playoffs, but go all the way.
All right, I'm going to stop you there. It goes on for another minute or so. I agree that a manager needs to get the most out of their players, right? And Boone clearly doesn't do that. This summer swoon every single year, repetitive, year after year, is so infuriating. It's so predictable. We did a show in early June, right? And I gave the keys to avoiding the Boone June swoon. And it didn't work, obviously. This team was 7 games up in late May. They're now 6.5 games back and on the verge of missing the playoffs. Mets collapsing too. It's the only thing that's making this even bearable because we don't have to listen to them. We don't have to listen to them talking about how they're the Yankees' daddy because they're playing like crap too. Got a call here about Spencer Jones.
Hey there, Derek. It's Jason from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Just went to see the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs play today against our Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Just 10 minutes away. Beautiful day to see a game. Got to see Spencer Jones go yard. Wanted to see that. Got what I asked for. And I got to see some good old Yankee baseball. Booting ground balls, giving up easy extra bases. But, we ended up pulling one out. We did this crazy thing that the Yankees never do. We scored runs with runners in scoring position. We got base hits with runners on third. It was incredible. They actually scored more runs than the other team.
All right, I appreciate the call, man. Spencer Jones, 30 home runs now. 30 home runs. I feel like we are going to see him in September. And, maybe I'll look at our future center fielder. I'm so pleased that he has turned it around. I was skeptical, but the change in his stance has definitely yielded results. Now, this doesn't mean he's going to be great at the major league level. We've seen plenty of guys put up great minor league numbers and then struggle. It's a big jump. But he's got natural power for sure. Everything he hits, he destroys. All right, I'll see you tonight after the game. Reminder, calling during the game. Still trying to get the live stream issues wrapped up, but we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out NYYDesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.